All right. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 2. I am Stella, the CEO of Be Accountable, and I also just simply go by Stella Matthews most of the time, you all. So I'm excited to have all of you here as we talk about the stressful reality of what it's exactly like to be a woman. I've spoken to a lot of women that are tired, simply stressed out with life and its overwhelming responsibilities, if you know what I mean. And I brought on some other ladies because I don't want you to feel as though you're alone in this. I think a lot of us women feel stressed and overwhelmed with just simply being a woman and everything that it entails. So, I wanted to briefly talk about when I first realized that it was stressful being a woman, being a girl, or whatever. Um, and I would have to say it goes all the way back to when I was maybe 5, maybe 6 years old, maybe even younger than that. I always realized the boys could play freely. They could just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Y'all kind of understand what I'm saying. You know? They didn't have to wear shirts around. They could just go play in dirt, kick ball, and even when they were doing things that they had no business doing, what did we often say? Oh, they just being a boy, right? They just being a boy, so they could do whatever, get into whatever badness they wanted to get into, and it was just simply they were being boys. You know what I'm saying? So I realized that early in life, and I was like, you know what? I think I just want to be a boy. So I had my hair all cut off like I was a boy. I was running around with no shirt on like I was a boy. That was just it was just the easy way to go. I'm just going to be a boy. And for a while, I really did embrace the whole thing of simply being a boy, And I think one time I was playing, and my mom had bought me this nice little what we call Easter dress. Y'all went to church. My mama bought me this nice Easter dress that was like layered, okay, with white shoes. Now I'm a boy, but she want me to be this girl so bad, okay? She done bought me this dress with the little white shoes. Guess what Denise was outside doing? On her big wheel in them nice white shoes and that lovely Easter dress that she just bought me on my big wheel. I cared absolutely nothing. So my mom came outside the house and she was yelling, like, get over that. You a girl. You a girl. And that's when I really realized how stressful the reality is of being a girl. Like we always had to be a certain way. We had to walk a certain way. We couldn't climb on certain things. We couldn't do certain things that boys were allowed to do, you know? So that is when I felt like early in my life, I started realizing that I just rather be a boy because it's just way easier for me. At that time, it seemed like it was way easier for me because being a girl just came with a whole lot of extra work to do. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, especially if you were tomboys growing up, but it was just fun. It was just, we could jump out of trees, you could play basketball. It was no such thing, that you couldn't do when you could be a boy. And as we grow up as in that whole realm, look at everything that we have to do and the stress that comes behind being this girl or being the woman that we have to be. So what I have done for you all today is I have brought in some ladies to talk about their stressful realities of being a woman. And they may go a little in depth because I want them to be open and share with you all what it feels like to actually be a woman, especially in today's society. So I have brought on, I'm going to bring Suzette onto the podcast so that she can kind of talk a little bit about her experiences of being a woman and being stressed with the reality of being a single parent. She is a Army veteran, so she has done a lot in this realm of time with just being a single parent. She has recently graduated from college, okay, along with working at the same time. So we're going to have her on here to actually share with us a little bit about her stressful reality. All right. Welcome, Suzette. Welcome.
Good morning.
So I'm going to let you open up and just give a brief introduction about yourself, and then I'll come back and ask you a few questions along the way.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Suzette. I live here in Atlanta. I have a 12-year-old daughter. As Denise said, I am a single parent. I recently graduated college. I got my associates in business administration, and I did 8 years in the Army. And currently, I work in human resources. And I absolutely love it. But what I do want to say before we get into these questions is stress of being a parent. I am in a parking lot right now. My daughter has cheer today. And right after this, Denise, when I thought I was going to go ahead and relax and just watch the game, no, ma'am, she forgot her shirt. So I have to go get her shirt and then come back because it is requirement for today. So let's start with that type of stress.
It is definitely stressful. I can definitely relate to being a single parent and just having to wear the many hats of I got to go and do this, and how do I find time to do this, and oh, I got to cook. Crock pot dinners were my thing. Like my kids know every crock pot recipe there is because there was no such thing as sitting down and taking the time and actually doing a recipe with having a busy schedule. So I did. I do know that you have a daughter, and I do want to talk a little bit about that, a teenage daughter at that. How is that going for you? Along with working, along with cheer, how is that actually going for you?
We have our good days and we have our bad days. And then we have our ugly days. But for the most part, it's a ride. Um, it's a struggle, but you get your reward in the moments that you know you're gonna get your reward. Even in the bad times when they're making mistakes and you know they're making these mistakes and you have to let them because they have to learn, but don't let them get burned too bad. But even in those times, you still find beauty of it. Sometimes it's the lessons that's the beauty. Sometimes it's the memories, the moments, even the tears. So I complain to myself a lot, but I am very grateful for the type of child that I have. So, I mean, like I said, it's good days and bad days.
I know we can talk about several experiences that you have been through. Is there anything with you that you would like to talk about that has been extra stressful for you, as far as motherhood, as far as being in the military? Is it something that you would like to talk about?
When you're juggling multiple schedules, that has been a huge struggle for me now. Last year, my daughter did competition cheer. That was like an introduction of mixing my schedule with her schedule. It's easy when they're younger. Like there's no schedule. You can travel when you want. You can, you know, take them here, take them there with no restrictions. But when they get older, especially getting into sports and to activities, finding their individuality and what they want to do, we struggled about edges today, you guys. But even like simple things like that. Um juggling schedules and personalities, it's a lot. My biggest struggle lately has been my schedule, my daughter's schedule, her growing into who she wants to be, where we're clashing um a lot of times it's because of the schedule, so we're both frustrated at, we need to do this, we need to do that, then our personalities come in the way, and it's just, that's been the biggest struggle right now. Just getting to know each other and who we both are becoming and evolving in this busy time, of us trying to mesh our lives together, because she's no longer that little girl that I can just tote around. She's, I'm helping her build what she wants, what she will do, what she will be passionate about, and teaching her those morals and values. But the biggest thing is time management and how to control your emotions when things don't go your way or when they do. So all of that in one, it just really ties into the schedule and how we handle the schedule.
Yeah, that time management is a big deal, especially being a working mom and then having a teenage daughter that probably want to be involved in
I
everything.
agree.
And I do have a question as far as it go with raising a teenage daughter because as you all know, my daughter is 18, which she's kind of beyond some of those things. Some of them she's a little beyond, but how hard is it to raise a daughter
Mhm.
nowadays coming up with social media? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
So that is one of actually the latest drama in the life of Suzette. Um, I have to remind my daughter that she is who she is unapologetically. Social media is just there. It is what it is. These people are putting up a front sometimes, or I'm teaching her how to observe, how to know what is an inspiration and what is a trend or what is a facade. Um, I take her phone a lot. I absolutely do. When I see that she starts feeling herself, oh, that's an issue for me. We will get back humble. Let me go ahead and strip you from social media. I think we need to start doing a little bit more chores. Let's go outside for a walk. Let me take you to the gym with me. Um, let's get off these games. I just try a lot to bring her back into the moment. Boho braids. Let's get into these real quick. My daughter and I had an incident where I allowed her at her age to have boho braids. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was like, oh, I think they're really cute. Well, I didn't know what it was doing to her as far as like what she thought she needed to do, how she needed to act. And I overheard her speaking to her friends. She had a sleepover, overheard her speaking to her friends, and it was more so like, yeah, because and she disclosed how much the price of the hairstyle was, and it really infuriated me. But I waited until after her friends left and everything like that to really sit down and have a conversation with her and let her know this is going to be the last time that you ever get these braids and a lot of other styles that I'm going to start pulling back on, because although you are getting older and you are changing your way or learning what you like and what you don't like, I want you to remain humble. And that is a big thing that I do with her. And it all goes back into social media and everything like that, because they're seeing these things to social media. They're seeing these hairstyles. They're thinking that this is how they need to be. This is how they need to change their image. And I basically had to let her know some of your friends are not in a position, or maybe are in situations where they aren't, that may sound like you're boasting, like you're, you know, just the way that you're saying it, you're following how these social media influencers are speaking, and maybe you may not mean it in that way. However, let me help you in how to be able to communicate a little better without making it seem like you're boasting. So when it comes to the social media realm and the social media influences and the facades and all of that stuff, that I remind her that I came from humble upbringings. I'm one of five. My mom was a single parent of five. She didn't have it like that. And although now that we're older and I'm older and we're able to provide these things for our children, I sometimes have to remind her everyone doesn't have it like that. And let me just teach you how to go about these situations. So that's a big struggle. Social media, I strip her from it every chance that I get. She does not have an Instagram. She does not have a Facebook. And it's random times that I allow her on TikTok. I just think that monitoring how you parent your child, parent your child is just how you have to be more involved into making sure that they are not falling into those trends and into those practices of just being a follower. To be honest with you, that's all it's creating. um but that's a big thing for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I can definitely agree that social media can be a bit toxic. Social media can be a bit toxic for adults. So we can just imagine how toxic it could possibly be for young people. And also, I think about sometimes with my kids. I feel like what I did with my kids, I'll just be open and transparent. Is I raised my kids. And just so happened, God loved me enough to help straighten me out along the way. But I raised my kids out of fear, fear of what I did not want them to be, fear of them not being like me.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like that is something that if I could go back and change some things, that would be something that I definitely would do, is to not raise my kids out of fear. We often, even when we was coming up, our parents would say stuff like, "Oh, because I don't want you to be like me, that's why I'm doing this. I don't want you to be like me, that's why that's why." But we have instilled and put that into their head for so long and beat that into them for so long that it's like kids are like, okay, I don't want to be like you. But in reality, we still make mistakes along the way as well. So, is that something that you have had to do as well? Kind of train your mind or condition your mind around not really raising them to, not raising them out of fear, but condition them to be prepared for the world in front of them?
Oh, you said it right there. Because I had a really, really good friend tell me and pretty much call me out. She called me out on telling me how, Suzette, you need to recognize that you are not your mom. Your daughter is not you. So the things that you went through, all you have to do is teach her to not make the same mistakes. But the key word in it was teach and not tell. So you made a valid point, because I grew up where my mom was like, I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to be like me. But you know what's crazy? Ever since my friend told me that, like in my daughter's older ages, um, I have not said that since my friend called me out. And I appreciate her for that, because I needed that. And we try to tell our kids, like, don't be like me, don't be like me. But don't tell them, just show them differently. Show them how you don't be like them without putting that fear in them of don't be like me, because you're going to always grow up like i.e. Suzette, wanting to not be like her mom. And then my close friends will tell you I'm probably exactly like my mom. So that's what it creates. What else does it create? Generational curses. I mean, we grow up doing it out of fear that we end up being just like them. So I try not
Absolutely.
to do that with my daughter.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we want to thank Suzette for coming on the show today with her busy, busy schedule. I drug her out, and I'm so grateful that you
Thank
actually took the
you.
time to actually be. I'm sure you were able to reach a lot of the ladies that are single and juggling like, trying to juggle it all and got everything on the plate and some falling over the side of the plate.
Ooh,
Right?
we a
So
whole
we
nother
want to
episode.
actually let you get back to cheerleading with your daughter. And we want to thank you for coming on. And we definitely will have you back on here, definitely again. And we want to thank you. All righty.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
All righty. All righty, you all. So we actually are going to move on to Desaria Matthews, which is a recent graduate of an HBCU. Yes, Alabama State. All right. Alabama State. I'm so very proud of her. She's such an humble person. Oh my gosh. I just love her spirit. And I'm going to have her to just come on and just really talk about some of the struggles that she's had to endure with going to college. And now she's back in college for nursing. So she finished college, she moved, got her own place, and now she's right back in college and she's working at the same time. When I tell you, I am so proud of her, but I know that she's had to deal with lots and lots of struggles being young and still trying to do the things that she needs to do. So we're going to bring Desaria on to kind of give you a brief introduction of her and just go into some of the struggles that she's had to endure being a college student, graduate, and some of the things that she has seen and witnessed and probably been a part of while she was in school. So let's welcome Desaria in here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Desaria. I'm recently a college graduate student. Right now, I am at KSU, majoring in nursing with a minor in public health, and I am working at Marietta Eye Clinic as an ophthalmic assistant. So I'm a technician for an OD, which is optometrist. I basically work up her patients. So I do the beginning of the exam, and once they're dilated, the doctor comes in and takes over. So, starting at the beginning of just being at Alabama State and being a student there and working has been a lot. Um, just earning my bachelor's in biology was the biggest struggle, but luckily to my peers and my family, I was able to get through it. To start off with working and also juggling school at the same time was like my biggest accomplishment because I didn't think I can do it all at once. Honestly, having biology classes with teachers that, really didn't have any care in the world about their students, all they really cared about was their results and getting kids in and out and graduated. And most of the time, sometimes they would even fail students even when we're just, pleading our case and begging, and not because we weren't staying on top of what we're supposed to do. It was just because it was so much with life. Being at an HBCU, having that culture shock and everyone, this is our first year or our last year. So it's just so much going on at one time. And then also I was a server at Longhorn. So I had to learn the menu. I had to learn how to serve. I've never served before, but I have worked in a community where I was in an environment, being around people at all times. So having to juggle learning the menu, being a server, and not knowing what to expect when you walk to a table, because I've had some tables where like we just had to escort them out because it was so bad. It was a lot. And then you have to go home and then have your social life. And that was a lot as well, just being able to have friends and connecting with people and being with your peers and going to special events when I weren't even sometimes able to make it to because I had so much work. Um, just being a biology student, it was just a ton. So I give my props to any and everybody that's in school and trying to juggle work at the same time. And as of now, I only have a short load. I only have 3 classes. But being a technician for my doctor, she is at a high speed rate of having a lot of people coming into her clinics, in and out, cancellations, people coming in the same day for different diseases, infections, all kinds of things that needs to be treated immediately. It's a lot. So when I first became a technician, they told me give it 90 days. Even people that were experienced, they said give it 90 days because it's going to be a lot. So I said, okay. I was working with a pediatric doctor. She's an MD, so she was doing surgery at the same time. So it was a kind of different workup when I was working with adult patients. So with children, it was quick in and out. I'd get them dilated. The doctor would see them immediately, unless if there was certain things that I had to stop and touch base with the doctor, see how she wanted to approach the situation. But now that I'm working for an OD, she gets to see a lot of infections and diseases that come in, and sometimes they're the same day. We have no clue what we're walking into. So it's super stressful because I have to juggle all of my patients, make sure that they're ready for the doctor, make sure everything's documented. And sometimes she doesn't even have time to, read over the charts, which she does skim through quick, but I have to be there, give her the rundown right in front of the door, and she goes in, and that's how she approaches the situation. Sometimes when our clinic is just we have too many patients and we're too backed up. So it's a lot. And then being in school and having to think and learn and grasp onto new materials, and then also grasping onto new materials at work now that I'm with the new doctor, is just a ton of stress on my shoulders at all times. And I've learned to let things go and, put it in God's hands at all times, because there's just some things we really can't, there's some things that I just have to give it over to him, and I can't handle it because it's just too much for me. And I will stress myself out to the point where I know that my body is getting tired and sick because I'm taking on a load that's not needed. And also being a big sister, it's just a ton. Being a college student, working, a big sister, and having a social life and being myself at the same time.
I can, just listening that you talk about just the amount of stress is overwhelming for me. um, I think sometimes, especially when we have things on our schedule as women, sometimes I almost think that we don't fully feel that we are operating functionally unless we are just full. Our plate is running over. We're not happy, we're not satisfied unless we have things running over off the plate. It's already enough that we have a full plate in the front of us, but sometimes we don't even know how to operate because we have been operating from that state since we were little girls. We have been operating from the state of, I'm going to teach you how to do everything a girl's supposed to do and everything a boy's supposed to do. We have been operating from that for so long that even our kids, and as I think about you being a college student, some of that goes back to what we've watched our mothers do, what we've watched. And sometimes it comes from, I want to do all of this because this is what I've seen, or I want to do all of this because I didn't see it. So we have so many pressures, and just you being in college and being around other peers, do they also feel that overwhelming amount of pressure as well?
I would say yes. At Alabama State, it was a whole bunch of us. It was maybe like 10 girls, and we would always come together and we would just talk about how much it is. And we all had like the same thoughts of being, going to med school. And now we've all switched our paths, and now we're going to like accelerated nursing programs to be a nurse practitioner, because it's a lot just as a whole being a lady. Like it is a lot, and there's all these social influences and things going on, and how you see people on TikTok and they're in the same path as you, but there's so much more they're doing, and it makes you think like, am I doing enough, or am I handling my responsibilities as I'm supposed to? And so we all just talk to each other every time. And I also have a really good friend I just met here. She's in the master's program at Emory for public health, and she just tells me every day, like, I have a paper every week to do, and there's like 8 to 10 pages. She's like, I'm just exhausted. And she works for her public health board. So she's just telling me every day, like, how exhausted she is. Like, she is physically tired because she has to work. And then she has her social life. And also being in school is just a ton. And I feel like me and her can bond the most because we're in each other's, like, same shoes. She kind of wants to go and get her doctorates, and I'm, working towards to becoming a nurse practitioner. And there's just so much that you see on social media, everyone else doing it at such a young age, and it just makes your mind circulate. Are you doing enough? And then at the same time, when your family is looking at you, and they're super proud of you. Don't get me wrong, because my family's super proud of me. But it's just me thinking, am I doing enough?
I think I can relate to, or probably speak for a lot of women when I say that the question always pops up in my head is, am I doing enough? Even before, let's just say, even before we did this podcast, I was like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Should I do more? How can I do more? Perfection has always been a thing that can actually hold us back as well. It's like, well, on social media, I've seen this. On social media, I see that. And no matter how much people try to tell you that, so you have to disregard everything about social media, it is still an influence. If you are into anything, TV, radio, anything, all of this stuff is not called programming for a reason. It's called programming because it is made to program you to see it, to take it in, and to digest it. And some of those things, even we can think about some of the things that we were good with when we were young, or some of the things that we didn't see. We are seeing it on TV now, like never before. And it is having an effect on the older generation, because the older generation don't want to really get old enough to help educate the younger generation, because the older generation still want to be 18 and 17 and 16 and 20. You know what I'm saying? So the 20-year-olds that need, the 20, 25-year-olds that need guidance, they don't know where to go, because everybody want to be 25. And if you are 45, it's not the new 25, people. Let's just be real about it. It is not the new 25. It's nothing about me that feels 25. Okay? Nothing. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, my back. Oh, I gotta, oh, the gray hairs that's in the front of my head. It's nothing about me that I feel 25 when I wake up. I feel way wiser. I am beyond that. And I feel like at this point in my life, especially being 45 years old, my thing is to help guide the younger ladies into this role that we're in. But I want them to be able to do it in a zone where it's not as stressful, or learn how to manage the stress that comes along with being a woman. You know, we talk about cortisol levels and all of that. I think cortisol is part of my all over DNA. I think I have my cortisol high from the time I wake up to probably the time I go to bed. Because I don't even really think do I sleep? I probably sleep a few hours here and now. But I'm just saying, I can only imagine, being that I have watched you grow, and I have watched you go to college. I have watched you do the schoolwork. I have watched you get an apartment, get your own place, and then go back to school. And I'm like, she is doing it. She is doing it, So I want you to really be proud of the woman that you are becoming, the woman that you are right now. You are definitely a great role model for a lot of young ladies. And especially in the world of social media, where the influence is so big, and you see so many people that seem to be like they got it without the struggle. That makes me, okay, everything is not what it is. It is not what it seems. Everything is just not what it seems. Okay. So, anything else you want to add, Zari, about any of the other challenges or struggles that you've had along with moving, going to college, being in a new city, coming from a whole state to a new state and then to another state? Like, how is that for you?
I absolutely loved moving to Georgia. Like, it was like kind of like a breath of fresh air. Besides the traffic, that's the only thing that takes me out. But since I've always traveled here, it's kind of felt like home. So being in Georgia isn't a big change to me, but being in a new environment with school, going from HBCU, now I'm going to Kennesaw State University. So it's two different backgrounds there that I'm with. And then first off was finding friends. So when I started working at Nike, it was back in August, I found my friend group within like 2 weeks, but we weren't hanging out. We were just like friends at the job. And then as we got close now, we hang out all the time. But due to so much going on, I haven't been able to hang out as much. And they understand because we're all in the same boat. So I appreciate Georgia a lot because it's teaching me a lot. Being around a new group of people at work is great. But my biggest struggle by moving out was financially keeping myself on a schedule to where I know how to prioritize myself. And there's been times where, like, I've told my grandma all the time, or I'll tell my dad, I haven't been able to spend on myself since probably when I graduated college or my birthday, which was June of 2022. After that, I haven't been able to buy myself clothes a lot. I haven't been able to. I'll go out a lot, but it's usually nothing expensive. But like my cart of clothes is expensive, very expensive. And that's another thing that is very difficult about being a woman is, having clothes, just not to say the body figure, but the body fit, because all of that just plays a role. So it's like now I'm trying to keep myself in shape. And I was going to the gym and I stopped because it was just so much at one time. When I get home, I just fall on the bed and go to sleep. So I feel like financially, that's the hardest thing. It's just prioritizing and make sure I'm putting my expenses towards the right things, and then the leftovers, either try to put it in my savings or use a little bit to go out. But usually when I get my check, it's just like it's all going to different things to where my mind is just like pay my bills and whatever is left, just either I can have fun with it. Most of the time I can't because there's something coming up with my car, but it's just a ton. And I think that's the biggest thing that I need to understand and learn is how to be financially stable, and how to deal and work with my money every time I get paid. It's not to splurge because now I'm an adult, and I have to handle situations in different ways and approaching them better instead of spending all my money on things that I don't need and then falling short at the end.
I definitely agree. I I am 45 and I can relate to the spending thing because I just sometimes can't control myself. If I see a sale,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there. But we're gonna leave that alone. That's just for a whole nother day. That's for a whole nother day. But that is a part of being a woman. We see it, we want it, we want to look cute, we want to look good, and all the different kind of stuff. And sometimes we go a little bit overboard, a little bit overboard. So, with that being said, we want to thank Zaria for actually coming on with us today.
It was nice. It was really nice being here.
Of Zaria, we want to thank you for coming on today. Is there anything else you want to add before we end our interview with you?
I just want to give a big thanks to you. You've done a lot for me in the past year, just being able to stay with you until I got on my feet and being able to move out and do a lot on my own. And you just influenced me so much. I don't even think I can explain to you how much you've influenced me and how thankful I am for you, and even for my family and the support, because I don't feel like I could be here right now without you all.
We absolutely, it was like having another daughter at home. I was so happy. I was so happy. I'm used to having a house full of kids, and when my sons left to go to the military, I kind of wanted them to hurry up and go and be men. But then when they left, I was like, I want somebody to come stay with me. So we want to thank you once again, y'all. This is really a lot for her because she is very, very soft-spoken and she is very shy at the same time.
Yes.
So it's major for me to actually be able to get her on here and actually get her to be able to share with us about her college experience and just graduating and re-entering back into college along with working full-time. That is definitely commendable. It takes a lot, and we want to thank you for that. And just know that you are doing enough. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, y'all. So we're gonna keep moving along We are going to keep moving along. And we have Avian. Now, oh my gosh, I can talk on and on about this young lady because I have been knowing her. I met her when I went into the reserve, and she was one of the first people that I actually met. And oh my gosh, I could say so much about her. I have watched her as well go to college. I have watched her grow into the beautiful young lady that she is. She's always been a beautiful person, but I have actually been around to witness a lot because she was really young when I met her. And I was a bit older, a little bit older. So she is a mental health specialist. She is also a soldier. She is still in the military. She's an advocate and she is a servant. So I'm going to bring her in here so that she can actually talk to us today about some of the things that she's had to deal with. And I will touch on this because she's going to be talking about some of the pressures that she's had to experience as a result of unrealistic expectations that people actually place on her. So we want to actually hear her talk. So I'm going to bring her in here. Avian.
Hi. I'm so excited.
So much for coming, Avian. So share with us today a little bit about your struggles as it go with being stressed and the reality of being a woman.
Yes, ma'am. And I know you want an intro first, so I'll do a little bit of that before I jump into it. But thank you so much, first of all, Big Sis, for having me here. Shout out to Suzette and Desaria. I really enjoyed them thoroughly. That was amazing. So, Avian Thompson, usually go by Avian Latisse. 39 years old, never been married, no kids of my own anyway. Mental health therapist for going on 5 years. Been in the military for going on 23 years. And like she said, this is where I met her, and she embraced me right away and took me under her wing, which I love her so much. I can't even put into words, like Desiree was saying, how amazing it was to just be her little sister and to have her sister be my little sister. So grateful to her. But yeah, let's get right into it. Um, Being a woman. It's tough. It's difficult. And one thing I've always said, and we talk about this, and we tend to wear it as a badge of honor. And I know she'll agree with me when it comes to this about being a strong black woman and how people feel like, oh my God, like you're a strong black woman. And it's for me, and I can speak from my perspective, it's not that I want to be a strong black woman because it can be tough. I just want to be a regular woman. I don't want to have to be strong, but we have to do that. So it's not that it's a desire or something that I want to do. I have to be strong because, we are taught and raised to get out there and make it happen for yourself, to not depend on anyone else, especially a man, to do it for you. So my mom was heavy on that when I was growing up. I'm her oldest child, her only daughter. And so she instilled in me when I was very young, baby, get out there and make it happen for yourself. Do not rely or depend on anybody else to do anything for you. And so I grew up with that mindset. So I joined the army at 17 years old because I knew I had to get out here and get it. My mom was a single parent for the most part, besides having my stepfather when he was around. And so we had to learn how to get out there and make it happen. So my strength comes from my mom and my amazing grandmothers and all these beautiful women in my life, like Stella. So I just thank God for that. That gave me a foundation to build upon because it's hard out here. And we all know that nothing's going to be handed to you. Nobody wants to give you anything. And if they're giving you something, a lot of times it's because they want something in return. They don't have pure good intentions. So you have to be very careful of who you allow to help you, and who you help. And I learned that the hard way, but I learned it. So it's a struggle. I just want to be normal, so to speak. But for whatever reason, they put this thing on us that we have to be strong. Like, oh, you're a strong black woman. You can handle it. You can go through that. You're tough. It's cool. You can make it. I don't want to have to be tough. I don't want to have to be strong all the time. I just want to go through my life and be happy without having to go through. I don't want to be on the struggle bus. Like, that is not anything that I wear as a badge of honor. I'm strong because I have to be. Because if I'm not, I can't afford to just give up and throw in the towel. It's too much at stake, not just for me, but those around me. So I'm just that strong black woman thing. Stop expecting us to be able to take everything and just put a smile on our face and just push through like, oh, it's fine, I'm great. That is not reality. Stop doing that to us. Like that is difficult for us. We have a lot that we're doing. We're trying to hold up, our men and be supportive of our leaders, whether it be in business or in ministry. It's a lot, it's put on us as black women specifically, but as women as a whole. Like they expect us to do everything and still support everybody and be great. It's not that easy. I've had to struggle so much so that I went through a really, really tough battle with major depressive disorder. I was diagnosed and put on medication because I was trying to be everyone's hero. I was trying to put this cape on and take care of everyone, but the one person I did not take care of was me. And I learned that the hard way. So if you guys don't take anything else from what I'm saying today, self-care and self-love, you have to love on yourself. You have to take care of you. You cannot take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. People so often say you can't pour from an empty cup. I disagree because I've done that, but it's painful to do that. So make sure your cup is full and it's overflowing so they can get the overflow. You keep what's in your cup for you and you let others get the overflow. So I've had to learn that. So please get us off these expectations. I don't want it. You cannot, I'm not going to live up to nobody's expectations but mine, respectfully. Sorry, not sorry. So,
I could definitely agree. You definitely can pour into others when you are empty.
mhm,
Um, like I said, it becomes painful because at some point we want others to realize that we're empty. That's why it becomes painful because it gets to a point to where it's like, are you using me? Are you taking advantage of me? Because most of the time people realize that that's what they're doing. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? But that's when it comes to setting healthy boundaries. And when you have to put somebody in their place for that, it's not that you're wrong. And a lot of people think when you put somebody in their place that that's like you didn't turn the other cheek. You're supposed to just turn the other cheek. No, I think at some point you have to let people know that I only have two cheeks, sweetie. How many you want me to turn? Because I only have two. And I let you get away with it a couple of times. So I think at some point you have to respectfully put people in their place and establish healthy boundaries for yourself, and that is you taking charge of yourself and being accountable for yourself as well. So,
Mhm.
I know that it is definitely challenging for you. And now you're a mental health specialist as well. How is
Mhm.
that your job in managing the stressful things that you do in life on a regular basis? How is that going? How do you balance that?
Well, so when I first decided to go into this career field, I guess my worry was that I would get too attached to people because I can easily get attached to people. I love to love on people, support, uplift people, so I can get really attached really easily, especially those that are going through things. Like it seems like if somebody's having a bad day or they're struggling, in some kind of aspect of their life, I want to save the world, so to speak. But I had to realize I'm not the savior. That's Jesus, and so I learned that the hard way too. But I was afraid that I would get too connected and it would become overwhelming. But thankfully, I learned how to separate the two. So what I've been saying, and I've been saying this a lot lately, it's not that I am loving others any less. I've just learned to love myself more. And so, like I was saying earlier, with the whole, your cup, the inside of the cup is for you, and what overflows is for other people. And so we have to understand. Going back to self care and self love, I wasn't doing that. I was loving everybody else except for me. I continued to put myself on the back burner, and that's what kind of spiraled me into that really dark place and depression. And so I had to learn in that valley moment that I have to focus on avian. And so right now I'm in a season of me, is what I call it. I'm focused on me. So I know how to be there for other people, support them with whatever they're dealing with mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I know how to separate the two. So when I'm off work, I'm off work. And that's how I look at it. That's time for me to get myself together, to get my strength back so I can pour into somebody else the next day. And so I had to learn how to get that work life balance together because I did not have a good one at all. And so by doing that, now I'm good. I don't get overwhelmed. I'm not stressed out. I'm not feeling like I'm experiencing burnout anymore because I've learned that it's okay to love people. Because me and you the same. We love hard, but you have to make sure that you're leaving something for yourself. And my aunt will always say, pay yourself first. And that's not just with your finances. Give yourself some time first. Give God his time. Give yourself the time that you need, and then you have time for other people. So thankfully, if you would have asked me this, I don't know, about 6 months ago, would have been a different answer. But I've learned how to balance the two. I love everybody, but I had to make sure that I love myself. And so it works out perfectly for me. I get to help them, but I'm also not hurting myself while I'm doing that. You're on mute, boo. I can't hear you.
Oh,
There you go.
can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It takes a very special person to actually do mental health counseling. That is where I really feel like you really have to lean, depend, and trust in God.
Oh, yes.
Because you carry a lot when you deal with people, their lives, their emotions, their mental state. And
Mhm.
sometimes it can be easy to carry those things into your life as
Absolutely.
well. So, a lot of people say, well, they just dump that off on me. I just want to say, God said, it's okay to dump this off on me. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and not carry those things around. We're going to circle back to you because there's some other things that I want to ask you, but we're going to move on to Patricia because it's some things that I kind of want to ask you all together, if that's okay. So
Yeah.
we're gonna circle back to you. And
Okay.
we're gonna go into we're actually gonna go into Patricia. We're gonna welcome her and we are going to welcome Patricia. Patricia is, oh my gosh, I could talk on and on about this individual because not only is she my sister-in-law, but she is one of my best friends. I think I talked to, she is one of those people that is going to reach out even if I'm quiet for 15 minutes and she gonna be like, hey sis, you okay over there? You okay? How you feeling? She is just one of those caring people, and for whatever reason she always seemed to know just the right time to be like, are you okay? And it just reminds me of, like when I wrote the thing about her juggling being a mom, a wife, a business owner, but on top of that she finds the time to actually care regardless of the challenges and sometimes being overwhelmed. She still finds the time to care about others. So I want to welcome Patricia Matthews. She is a virtual fitness and nutrition coach, along with the many hats of being wife, mom, athlete, and entrepreneur. I am going to bring her on so she could talk a little bit about herself and then briefly explain to you about the struggles that she has had to endure or the stressful things that involve her being the woman, the mother, the wife that she is. Let's bring Patricia on.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Patricia Matthews. I live in Mobile, Alabama. I am a wife, a mother of three, an athlete, a business owner, and among all other hats. So, the struggle of being all those things, it could be very overwhelming and exhausting. Oh my God. Like people think that like I'm sitting at home absolutely doing nothing. That is the misconception that a lot of people have about me. But that's not the case. Like there aren't enough hours in the day for me to do everything that I need to do. Like my daughter the other day, I picked her up and she always asking me, she's like, Mom, what did you do today? And I'm like, oh my God, charisma. She's like, well, Mom, do you think it's enough hours in the day to do everything that you need to do? And I'm like, no, I need some extra hours to do the things that I need to do, charisma, on top of everything else. Like, they depend on me for everything, absolutely everything. And, you know, that's the hat that I have to have, you know, as a mother, a wife. I have to do absolutely everything. You know, we have that thing where we think if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And I had to actually learn that, hey, some things are okay to not get done. Like we have to sit on the back, put things on the back burner sometimes and not absolutely do anything and think about ourselves and do the things that we want to do or love to do.
Absolutely. I definitely can agree. I think sometimes we as women have to allow things to fall apart. Sometimes
Hmm.
I know that is a lot for even a person like me to say and do. But sometimes we have to let some things fall apart because the more we put on us, the
Hmm.
more is expected. You know what I'm saying? And more we keep piling on. Like if your schedule is already full and there is help around and no help want to help, some things we just gonna have to let it, okay? Like
Absolutely.
truth be told. But we have picked up that role for so long of doing everything because we don't know how to function unless we are doing everything that's hard. Let's just be honest. And we don't want it unless it's hard. We're gonna pile our day full schedule all the way through. And that's the only way sometimes some of us feel like we've accomplished anything at all is if we feel like it's absolutely hard. And then we sit back like, oh, I did that. That was hard. I know I was doing something because that was hard. Because easy is just not good enough for us as women. We just gotta take the hard route, you know. So I know you talked briefly about, you know, just juggling it being a mom, but being an entrepreneur, how do you even fit that into the schedule along with everything else and all of the other expectations or the things that you have to do throughout the day?
Well, initially, what I had to do, I actually had to learn to set time aside for myself in business development. Like I had to write down, like, what is it that I need to do? Like, what are the steps I need to take? Like, so I actually got a notebook and I wrote down some steps that I had to take amongst myself for me to actually get that time for business development and self care. So what I did was I wrote down and I said, okay, well, why is it I'm getting help at home, or why is it that I need what is it that I need from my family? So I actually had to think about, okay, I need to communicate with my family. I need to let them know, hey, this is what I need. This is the time I need. This is the help that I need. This is what I want you to do as far as helping me where I can get that time that I need for business development and self-care. So I had spoke with my husband and I'm like, okay, this is what I need you to do. Because a lot of times we think that our husbands or significant other, they're mind readers, okay? We think they're mind readers. We think they're not supposed to know, hey, I need help with this, I need help with that, but that's not the case. So we can't expect that from them. So we actually have to use communication and ask them or give them the things that we need so they can help out. So communication is one of those things that I had to do. And then I also had to disperse or delegate the chores to my kids. Like they're 13, 10, and 8. Okay. They can do some chores around the house. Okay. They can help out. So I had to delegate chores and to get a little lightening of weight off me. So, and also it helps them teach them responsibility and life skills. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna write down these chores for y'all to do. I'm gonna put them on the refrigerator. You're gonna do these chores so I can have my time to do what things that I need to do. And also um asking others for help. Like I wasn't the one who always asked people for help, okay? So actually asking your loved ones for help, like outside of the home, like my mom, she helps out a lot. And, a lot of times I don't want to bother her, but hey, she's okay with doing it and she's there to help. So I'm like, can you have the kids for this amount of time so I can do this for myself? And she's available. And also time management. Okay. I had to write out everything that I wanted to do for the day, along with putting time aside for myself to do the things that I need to do. And I had to learn that, that some of the things that's on my list may not get done, and that's okay. I can't beat myself up about it, and I'm not anymore. No more stress. Like like my hair is growing now, so I'm like, hey, it is what it is. And hey, we can't control everything, but
That's
I'm
true.
going to get that time for me.
I know that is right. I'm going to get me some me time. The thing about it is I get up early in the morning. So I always say, I'm going to get myself the best hours of the day, honey. I'm getting up early in the morning. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock. I want the house to be still and quiet when I get up. Like, it's just something. And I have put that into my mind on a regular basis is, hey, Denise, give yourself the best hours of the day, because I was not conditioned and I was not disciplined enough to say, hey, you need to take some time out for yourself. It was just from the time I get up, it was just work, kids, da 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 da. And I had no time to fit in the schedule for myself. I had no time to prepare a healthy meal. I had no time to prepare to go to the gym and do all the things that I do. So I had to be more disciplined with giving myself that time. Also, I had to be better with celebrating myself. I had to be better with celebrating just the little things that I had accomplished throughout the day, because we set these really big goals, and then we only celebrate when we get to the actual big goal, but we don't celebrate the little steps along the way. So I just wanted to ask you, how do you remind yourself to celebrate yourself? And how do you remind yourself that you're doing a great job when it seems like everything may or may not be going the way that you intended, or it got done when you wanted it to get done, exactly when you wanted it to get done? How do you still remind yourself and celebrate yourself in those moments?
Well, in those moments, I remind myself that I'm human. Okay. There are things that people expect me to be just this perfect person, but nobody is perfect. I had to remind myself I am human. I can't have people put expectations on me that they think I should be this type of way. And I mean, like I've gone through my life so much with people thinking of what I should be. And I'm like, I've come to the realization, and I'm like, I'm human. And
Exactly.
I'm human, point blank, period. And I mean, I'm going to do the things that are making me happy. I'm going to make me happy. If I'm not happy, then nobody else in the household can be happy but me.
I do want to
I'm
briefly,
not happy.
because I love your name, Be Unique Fit. And I actually want to give you just a few minutes to kind of expound on that name. And then I'm going to bring Avian back in, because I have some questions to ask both of you ladies today. So I want you to briefly explain Be Unique fit and how you came up with that name for yourself or
Ooh,
your business. I'm sorry.
oh my God. Be Unique came from me. Um, I like to be my unique self. And I would love to inspire others to be their unique self. Like, don't think about what society wants you to be, but be who you want to be uniquely. Don't let society put these labels on you. Hey, you got to be this size, or you got to be this way, or you got to do this, you got to do that. Be your own self. Don't be like nobody else. Be your own self. Everybody was always talking about, I want to be like this person, or I want to be like that person. And I'm like, embrace who you are. You're unique. Like, nobody else can be you. You're your own unique self.
Exactly. I definitely agree with that. Being unique is, I always feel like the people that are unique are the most gifted to me because they have realized their own unique power of individual, being an individual. So that is one thing that I really find, I feel like that is truly a blessing when someone can really, really embrace who they are and then inspire others to actually be themselves as well. So this kind of leads me into bringing Avian in because we do want to talk about just being unique, especially now in the society that we live in. Now, we live in a society where it's almost like everybody kind of want to be like somebody else.
Mhm.
Or it's one thing to be inspired, but it's one thing to really, really start wanting to follow the paths that everybody else follow. So I kind of want to talk about just, or kind of ask both of you, what do you think really as a woman make you the unique individual that you are? And we'll start off with Avian.
Okay. What makes me uniquely who I am? Was that the question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, for one, honestly, I've always had a mindset to want to serve, and I call myself the servant because I am. I like to serve other people, and the fulfillment that I get from that just brings me joy. I don't do anything looking for it to be reciprocated. I don't do anything looking for a pat on my back. I do it simply because I love to serve because that's what God called me to do. When we get there, what you want him to say is thy good and faithful servant. And so you can't just do that when you get there. You have to practice that now. And so I just love to help people. And I think what makes me unique in that is the fact that I do it because, it's who I am. It's one of the things that God built me to do. And I love to do that. So I feel like that makes me pretty unique.
Awesome. Okay, back to you, Patricia. Even though that is your name as far as being unique, what do you actually feel like really makes you the unique person that you are? Dynamic person that she is.
What makes me unique? I think I like to do things my way. I love to do things my way, not the way of the book. And when I find out a way to do it, that's my own creative way of doing things. I don't. I like to put a twist on things, so to speak.
I
Um,
like that.
I don't do it as if someone wants me to do it. I'm like, oh, I think there's another way that I can do it. Let me put my little spice on it. Do it that way,
I love that.
So, even when I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, or if I'm doing a workout in the gym, I like to add my little twist on to it, and it's effective.
I know. I remember the gluten-free stuff that you like to try to that you be cooking. I think I'm gonna have to give it a try though.
Look, wait on that cookbook. I got a cookbook coming.
Okay, sis.
guess what? I'm gonna be the first one to buy that cookbook because I know it's some healthy, tasty stuff in there. Because I'll just cook some ground turkey and throw some rice over in there, and I'm like, that's a meal for me because I'm just not about to. Y'all know I forgot how to cook once my sons got grown. No, I don't cook nothing but beans. Okay, and that's because they cook themselves. If you add the meat in them, they cook themselves. So so we're gonna get ready to wrap things up, and I actually want to bring both of you all in. If you have anything additional that you would like to add, I know that I do a lot with fashion, and I like fashion. I like fashion a lot because fashion to me, I feel like when you look good,
You feel good.
you feel good.
Yes.
I'm just saying, So I always like fashion. So we're gonna wrap this up by y'all. I want to get y'all take on some of the fashion. Y'all know we had to get it in there. Y'all know we had to get some fashion in there. We had to get just a little bit of fashion because I ain't gonna be right without it. Okay. All right. So if you had that one thing in your closet that you feel like you got to have, what is it? I really want to know that you just got that. I feel that you feel like you gotta always have as a woman.
Okay, I'll go first. I have to have some heels, honey. I'm 5'3". I'm a shorty, but I like to be up in the sky. The higher, the better. Give me some stilettos all day, and I'm good. And let me point out, if y'all haven't noticed, we are lock sisters, the three of us.
Yeah.
Locks and glasses, boo. If you ain't doing the locks and glasses, heaven. I'm just saying. Come on to the lock side.
Let me tell you something. When I hit 40, the first thing to go was my sight. I had perfect vision, and when I hit 40, it was like I can't
See you
see.
later.
I can't see. I probably can't even see good enough to put the contact in. I don't even know. We just not even gonna worry about the contact because I'm just gonna screw that all the way up. Patricia, what is it that thing that's in your closet that you feel like you can't do without? It's gotta be there. You gotta have
Just one. I can't have two.
You can have several if you want to, because I know I do.
Me too.
A blazer. I have to have a blazer. Okay. You can dress that up or down.
Yep.
Got to have a blazer.
She like, hallelujah.
Let me tell you something. A blazer, I got to have a blazer. I don't care if it's summertime, you probably catch me on a blazer, like a summer blazer or something. It's just something about it. And I think it's more so, I think it's the level. It feels like a hug. A blazer gives me that
Blanket.
that comfort. It makes me feel like I'm together. It makes me feel like, I was supposed to be here. Like I feel like it's that one thing in my closet. I never give it away. I don't care if it's 2X. It's still in the closet. I'm not giving away a blazer. I'm gonna wear it as an oversized blazer. Okay.
Right.
The one thing that I used to not be able to do without was a pair of heels. If I wore sneakers before I go in somewhere, the only place I used to believe in wearing a pair of sneakers to was the gym or to the park.
Mm-hmm.
You would not even catch me in the grocery store with some sneakers on. I probably had on heels or something, like, because I'm short as well. And it goes back to that thing of growing up, like, ladies, you got to wear heels and you got to do this and you got to do that. So even my friends, if they wanted to go out with me, I'd be like, where you going with that on? Girl, you gonna wear some heels? Like, we
Right.
don't sneakers, like, and now I'm like a sneakerhead, which is really, really weird. I actually like sneakers, but now I'm a sneakerhead. So blazers, and I still rock with some heels every, I like them, but I ain't that crazy about them no more as much as I used to be. But definitely a blazer and a black dress.
See, that was my
Absolutely.
second one. That's why I said two.
A black dress. A black dress, I gotta have it. It's just one of those things. Those two things, I just gotta have them all the time. So we are going to wrap everything up, and I'm going to let you all have any closing remarks, anything, especially that you would like to let the ladies know, especially to the ones that don't feel like they are enough. I hope that this show has really showed a lot of people that none of us are perfect, and all of us have our different things that we go through in life. I don't care what you see on social media. I don't care what it looks like on social media. None of us are perfect, and everybody, as long as you are living life, you are going to experience life some way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what you look like. I don't care anything. You're going to experience, you're going to have the full life experience in some type of way. So looking at somebody else's life and thinking, oh, well, if I just had that life, you don't know what that person is actually going through. Well, you don't know what that person has gone through to get to the point to where they are. So before you want to walk in anybody else's shoes, you might want to think about where those shoes that have brought them from, and understand that that may not be where you want to be in order to get to where you're supposed to be. So, Patricia, anything that you had that you wanted to add today?
Yeah, you basically summed it up. That is perfect. What you said was absolutely perfect.
Adrian, anything that you wanted to add to end our show today?
I do. Of course, again, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed you ladies so much. You have made my whole day. So just some things that she said, and I love her name as well. I love Be Accountable and Be Unique Fit. I love it. And she said something. I have a picture on my bedroom wall that says Be Uniquely You. And we were all made to be exactly who we are. Nobody can be Stella like Stella. Nobody can be Patricia like Patricia. We have to be who we are, and we are amazing, and we are enough. Whatever you have to contribute to this world is what you need to contribute, because nobody else can do it but you. So it's important to be exactly who you are. And you said something earlier, and I thought about that. Comparison is the thief of joy. We don't have to compare each other. We all have our own different walks. Like you said, we all have our own different pair of stilettos or sneakers or whatever. And you walk in them the way that you're supposed to walk into them. And I always say, we're not competing with one another. The only person that you should be competing with is who you were on yesterday. Let's be better versions of ourselves. Let's uplift and love on each other. And if you look to the left and right and see your sister's crown is crooked, adjust it. Adjust my crown, boo.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I want to thank you all once again. And y'all know I will definitely be having y'all back on here again. We will definitely run this again in all different ways, okay? All different ways. I definitely appreciate you all coming, speaking to the people, my audience, your audience. Thank you for coming out of your shell and me dragging you out of your shell to come on here and actually speak with everyone. And we will see you all back here again. Thank you.
Yay.